In the shadowy heart of Jalisco, the flames of violence and drug trafficking fill the darkness between good and evil. In a chilling chapter, Mexican authorities embark on a deadly crossroads, deploying an operation to capture the elusive leader of Jalisco New Generation Cartel, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes alias El Mencho. The epicenter of this ruthless struggle was the municipality of Tomatlán, the very stronghold of the CJNG, where law enforcement entered the criminal lair in search of the man behind the shadows. The dancer of Jalisco resonated with tension as federal and state authorities flooded the street of Tomatlán with a massive deployment of agents. The roar of war erupted in strategic blockades designed to contain and repel the advance of law enforcement. The streets of Tomatlán turned into a battlefield where the thunder of gunfires and explosions shattered the stillness of the night. A relentless war where cartel forces, with their iconic four-letter logo, desperately launched into the defense of their leader. Block after block, law enforcement faced relentless resistance. Bullet traced deadly lines in the air, and dark smoke rose like a shroud over the conflict. The clashes in these blockades became a migratory dance between law and crime, where every alley and corner harbored the uncertainty of the unknown. In the midst of this fierce struggle, crucial questions arise. Did the authorities manage to capture El Mencho? Or did the leader of the CJNG slip once again into the shadows? What was the price paid in lives and devastation in Tomatlán? Join us on a journey into the abyss, where we will unravel the details of this apocalyptic confrontation and discover how the forces of good and evil collided in a scenario where the lines between justice and darkness blurred. Get ready to plunge into the abyss of drug trafficking and find out how this relentless war was resolved. Not without reminding you that if you enjoy our content and want to support us, remember to subscribe to the channel. Leave us your powerful like and comment. That helps us a lot and motivate us to continue bringing you quality investigate content. Now let's continue. City in flames. In the early light of day, the state of Jalisco, Mexico became the stage for a fierce battle between law enforcement and allied members of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG. The target, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, alias El Mencho, the elusive leader of the CJNG who has defied authorities for too long. Tomatlán, the municipality, considered one of the CJNG's strongholds, became the epicenter of a tragedy that would leave an indelible mark on the region. Federal and state forces unleashed a massive operation, filling the streets of Tomatlán with the overwhelming presence of agents. The mission? Capture El Mencho, plunge the cartel into darkness, and restore the peace that the community so desperately craved. However, what ensued was an all-out war, a deadly dance where law and criminality collided in a frenzy of bullets and violence. Initial reports narrated roadblocks and streets blocked by alleged CJNG members. The cartel forces deployed an arsenal of war, from heavy weaponry to armored vehicles and grenades. The magnitude of the confrontation was reflected in the presence of helicopters and armored vehicles, a scene that spoke to the drama of the operation. This conflagration has plunged the region into palpable tension, generating concern and fear among local inhabitants. The reality of violence emanating from the cartels became evident, and the presence of military and security forces in the area marked the magnitude of the challenge faced by authorities. El Mencho Khan speak, mocking the established instrument, raised serious questions about the effectiveness of law enforcement in pursuing cartel leaders in Mexico. This critical situation highlights the challenges and difficulties that the Mexican government faces in its fights against drug cartels, especially the CJNG, which has deeply rooted its presence in Jalisco in a disturbing manner. Under the leadership of Mencho, the CJNG has demonstrated an exceptional ability to defy authorities and maintain its influence even under pressure. The battle in Tomatlán reveals the complexity of the fight against cartels, where quick mobilization and the CJNG's reach create a chaotic and challenging scenario. This failed episode also raised doubts about the strategy and effectiveness of law enforcement in their confrontation with Mexican cartels. El Mencho's ability to evade capture underscores the need to review and improve tactics for pursuing and apprehending leaders of drug trafficking. The adversity generated by cartels in Mexico manifests in deadly roadblocks and blockades that paralyze entire communities. The struggle for territorial control has taken a high toll in lives and instilled fear in the heart of society. The persistence of this adversity and the cartel's ability to challenge authorities demands a comprehensive and coordinated strategy in the fight against drug trafficking. The CJNG has consolidated its power in Jalisco, becoming a dominant player in the region. The figure of Mencho as the undisputed leader has marked an era of violence and challenges for authorities. The inability to capture him in this operation highlights the urgent need to rethink and strengthen strategies to confront the growing threat of cartels. This regrettable episode in Tomatlán is not only a reflection of the adversity faced in Mexico, but also a call for more decisive and coordinated action. The peace and the security that citizens crave are at stake, and a comprehensive approach addressing the roots of the problem is imperative. The region is marked by the trail of violence, but also by the hope of change. The impact of this battle will resonate in collective memory, reminding us of the urgency to overcome the challenges posed by drug cartels and build a future where peace prevails over the darkness threatening Mexico. Trail of violence. The extent of this conflict reveals a much darker and more complex dimension than anticipated. In an unexpected turn, the forces for the National Army were compelled to intervene, responding to the call for help from local authorities. In the subsequent clashes, the town of Teosintle, in front of the Clementina Ranch, became the scene of a bloody battle. The magnitude of this clash led to a significant number of casualties. 4 individuals were marked by violence, 3 of them linked to a criminal group, and 1 belonging to the military ranks. In the chaos of the confrontation, gunfire bursts intertwined, creating a chaotic panorama that only exacerbated the tension in the region. The confrontation not only claimed the lives of 2 alleged CJNG hitmen, but also left a military officer injured in the line of duty. However, one of the darkest and most tragic aspects of this episode is the fact that among the injured from the criminal group is Edgar A., a young individual just 15 years old. This detail deepens the tragedy, shedding light on the cruel reality faced by young individuals involved in the dark world of cartels. Edgar, at such a young age, is already entangled in the violence and chaos that characterize these criminal organizations. His presence among the wounded underscores the heartbreaking nature of the reality facing Mexican youth, trapped in a cycle of adversity and criminality. The second vehicle that managed to escape the confrontation represents a looming threat hanging over the region. The successful getaway suggests a network of complicity and evasive tactics that cartels employ to maintain their influence. The battle in Teosintle is not just an isolated episode. It is an indicator of depth of the challenges authorities face in their fight against cartels. The tragedy and complexity of this situation raise unsettling questions about the future of the region and the ability of authorities to protect their population. The presence of a 15-year-old among the wounded highlights the urgency of addressing not only the violence itself, but also the deep-rooted issues that perpetuate youth involvement in organized crime. In a scenario where youth is dragged into the shadows of cartels, it becomes evident that the fight against adversity and violence require a comprehensive and sustained strategy. The story of Edgar is a painful reminder that the tragedy lies not only in armed confrontations, but also in the loss of young lives that fall victim to a ruthless environment. Conclusion. The dark backdrop of violence unfolded in Tomatlán, Jalisco has left an indelible mark of collective consciousness, revealing a disturbing and challenging reality. The operation aimed at capturing Mencho, the leader of the CJNG, turned into a grim reminder of the challenges that Mexican authorities face in their tireless fight against cartels. The failure of the operation to apprehend Mencho was skillfully managed to evade the security forces encirclement, underscores the cunning and mobilization capacity of cartel leaders. Mencho's escape not only represents a tactical loss, but also reflects the persistent gaps and challenges in the strategy to capture drug trafficking kingpins. The shadow of the CJNG leader continues to loom, fueling uncertainty and casting doubts on the government's ability to contain the threat he possesses. The confrontation in Teosintle, where the CJNG forces engaged in a bloody battle with elements of the Sedina, added an even darker dimension to this tableau of violence. The presence of a 15-year-old among the wounded highlights the tragic of how Mexican youth becomes entangled in the whirlwind of cartels. Edgar at his young age, becomes a symbol of desperation that characterizes young involvement in criminal activities. The successful escape of some hitmen who managed to cover the retreat of a leader highlights the complexity and web of complicity surrounding these criminal groups. The evasion and resistance capabilities of the cartel expose the magnitude of the challenge faced by law enforcement. The battle is not just physical. It is a struggle against a sophisticated network of strategies and loyalties. This dark chapter, marked by the failure to capture Mencho and the confrontation in Teosintle, raises unsettling questions about the future of the region and the government's ability to restore peace. The adversity generated by Mexican cartels not only translated into armed confrontations, it is a phenomenon deeply rooted in society, affecting communities and leaving indelible scars. The conclusion of this chronicle is a wake-up call to the need to address not only the symptoms, but also the deep-rooted causes of violence and youth involvement in organized crimes. It is a reminder that, beyond the operations and confrontations, a comprehensive strategy is required to tackle poverty, lack of opportunities, and distrust in institutions to break the cycle of violence. Ultimately, the story of Tomatlán becomes another chapter in Mexico's tragic saga against the cartels. A tale of persistent challenges, love lives, and an ominous shadow looming over the uncertain future of the region. Violence, escape, and youth tragedy intertwine in a narrative that calls for reflection, action, and unwavering determination to overcome the adversity lurking in the shadows. Thank you for reaching the end of the video. This concludes our presentation for now. Before saying goodbye, allow me to remind you that if you enjoy our content and want to support us, leave your powerful like and comment. Also, activate the notification bell to stay informed about new updates. This helps and motivates us to continue bringing investigative and breaking news content, especially for you. For now, with nothing else to reference, a bid farewell until the next video.